Greetings, fellow survivors. My name is Sean Scott, aka Fate in the gaming realm, and I guess the music industry too, a little bit. I'm a drummer, gamer, IT guy in no particular order. This is my 7 Days to Die build for Neuschwanstein Castle in Bavaria. Thanks bunches for stopping by. If you enjoyed the video, please click that like button down there because allegedly it helps with the YouTube analytics. I've tried building this castle 3 times before, once in Alpha 16, 17, and 18. This one that I was successful is 1.x. I say 1.x because I started off and it was 1.0, and by the time I finished it was up to 1.4. In fact, technically 2 is already out, but the server admin Cydia was kind enough to leave this instance up and running so I could finish building this and do this video while everybody else moved up to the 2.1, 2.2, etc. versions. I've built other buildings in the past in 7 Days to Die. I did an oil rig, I did Tikal Temple, the Great Lighthouse. I'll put a link to those down below in the description. I'll also put a link to where on the timeline the actual tour starts if you want to skip forward to that. But immediately after this little introduction, I'm going to give you some screen captures of the build progress for the different versions. I don't have any screen captures for 16. But for 17, 18, and 1.x, you can kind of see the progress from the framing up to as far as I got with that particular build. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please click that like button and subscribe. But do keep in mind that if you click the subscribe button, probably 90% of the videos that I'm posting up to YouTube are for my music. So these build videos will only be maybe once a year because it takes a long time to build some of these things depending on how complex it is. Thanks and enjoy the video. In Alpha 17, I decided to build on top of this mountain that was partially between the forest and the burnt forest biomes, pretty high up, so it was fairly defensible. It had nice views all the way around. In this screenshot, you can see I'm putting down the wooden frames to measure out where the outer perimeter is going to be to make sure it would actually fit on top of the mountain because it's a big castle, and know where I needed to start flattening things out for the different areas. Here you can see I flattened the upper area down and starting to put some wooden blocks where the buildings are going to be, basic floor plan so I know where everything's going to be located, and putting some concrete down for the back area there where the main castle is going to be for the throne room and singer's hall. Here started building the dungeon wall. There was no path back then to go from wood to concrete, so you had to use these rebar frames that you can see over there on the right. It was kind of a neat dynamic. You would take the rebar frames, put them down, you would get the water, mix it with cement powder to get concrete mix and apply it to the rebar frames. They'd be wet for a while, which are the ones over there on the left-hand side that are darker in color. And then over time they would dry into the reinforced concrete, and then they were strong. It was interesting too that it was like a random timer on the drying phase. As you can see, that wall there I built all at the same time. Some of the ones on the bottom are still wet, even though the ones on the top are already dry. The dungeon wall is finished. The lower courtyard is flattened out. Starting to work on the square tower over there on the right and up to the second floor of the main castle in the back. Up to third floor on the castle, starting to build the main gatehouse area out here, and a little bit more work on the square tower. The connecting building between the square tower and the main castle up to the second floor on there, and up to the third floor for the outer walls of the main castle and back. No rest for the weary, got to keep working through the rain. The square tower at this point is, the outer walls are pretty much completed. Obviously I need to do all the interior and the roof. The castle back there in the background, as you can see, I've gotten the third floor outer walls done, working on the fourth and fifth floors. Here's a side view, about the same time frame, to show the kind of the steep incline there, which will help keep the zombies out to some extent. Another view from that side. This is pretty close to about the time when the server shut down. I don't remember back then whether it was the server actually crashed or whether we had to go to Alpha 18. Not sure. This is one of the last views of the front As you can see, the square tower outer walls are done. The connecting building between the square tower and the main castle is done. Starting to build the roof back there. I shouldn't say done. The walls are done. Building the roof out of wood because it was a lot cheaper to build. Nice area, the view with the desert and the forest back in the background there. Another view of the side. Last day the server was actually up, working on the main stair tower, and there was no rounded shapes that were good for windows back then. So all these windows had like that pointy top on them. I wasn't a big fan of that, but it was all I had back in those Alpha 17. This was the actual last screenshot that I got before the server went away. This is just sort of an overall view from the distance of the side of the castle. All right, and Alpha 18 got a little bit later start, day 102, as you can see up there on the top. Built this one on top of a mountain in the burnt forest biome. It's a giant burnt forest area. This mountain was pretty steep to get up to, so it was a little bit better defense position. I learned a couple lessons in 16 and 17, one of which being I need some sort of a reference around the outside perimeter. So every 10 frames I would put a wood block here, as you can see, because a couple times back then I would build the concrete and then realize that the left side wasn't lining up with the right side and I have to tear it all down, and that was unfortunate. We also added a vehicle mod called Mannix Vehicles. I'll put a link down at the bottom. They stopped supporting it in Alpha 18, but it had a helicopter, as you can see here. There was a monohog, they called it. It was like a motorcycle with just one big wheel. You sat in the middle. That was pretty fun. A gyrocopter that you could pedal, jetpack, a really giant 4x4 beetle. It was a good mod. It's unfortunate they're not supporting it currently, but we did find another one, which I'll get to when I get to the current versions. Here you can see I've got the framework down for the square tower and putting some rebar frames down there to go underneath the castle portion where Singer's Hall is going to be. Started solidifying the courtyard here with cobblestone. Did some more work on the castle back there where the Singer's Hall is going to be. Looks like I've got the walls around for the first floor. In the burnt forest areas, there's a lot of soot and stuff in the air. And so every once in a while, actually fairly frequently, the whole sky would be very orange, even not on blood moon days. On this particular frame, you can see I've started digging out the lower courtyard, got the dungeon wall sort of built up, and a lot of rebar frames for the square tower, and doing some more work on the castle area in the back. This one, the lower courtyard is flattened out. The upper courtyard is completely done with cobblestone, a couple of reference squares in there. A lot of rebar frames back in the back for the castle area, and the square tower is up to the 3rd floor. And you can see some rebar between that connection building between the square tower and the main castle area. Another orange burnt sky day. Up to the 4th floor there on the square tower, and a lot of rebar frames there. Starting to actually put the roof on the connecting building between the square tower and the main castle. More work on the square tower up to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 floors, starting to do the expansion out where the walkway is going to be up there, and starting to put some concrete on the connecting building. The expansion is put on the square tower up on the top. Doesn't look like I did a lot more in the back area. Built the main building that's between the two square tower and the main castle. Got a roof on it. A lot more work on the back castle area. Rebar frames going up to, the 4th floor. And it looks like in the background there I'm starting to build the stair tower. some more work on the main castle area, doing some testing with the paint, and just trying to see if I can get a good color on those little outcroppings on that main castle area. As you can see, I've got the roof put on top of the area that's over the Singers Hall. The stair tower is up to, what is that, about 7th or maybe 8th floor. And that's the end of that. Alright, here's my fourth and finally successful build of Neuschwanstein Castle here in 7 Days to Die. This one took me over a year to build. I took a couple breaks off just to get a fresh brain, played a little Pal World and some other games. This particular screenshot is from August 7th of 2024. It is now October 11th, 2025, so 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days from start to finish, but who's counting? As you can see here, I'm out measuring the outer perimeter again to make sure the castle is going to actually fit on this particular mountaintop, doing every 5 meters a block to make sure the left and the right sides line up. I also mentioned earlier that the vehicle mod that we used back in the day, Maddox Vehicle Mods, is no longer supported, so we found one called B-Dubs Vehicles. I'll put a link down below. This has this small helicopter. There's a bigger, heavier helicopter that can carry 6 people and a ton of cargo. There's a biplane, lots of different sports cars, motorcycles, off-road vehicles, a sand rail, and even a hostess truck, paying homage to Zombieland. It's a great mod. I enjoy it. Here you can see I've started leveling out the upper courtyard and the front part there where the Singers Hall building is going to be, putting down the blocks for the floor plan. Also around the outer perimeter, I decided to put every 10 meters a red block, just again to make sure that the left and the right sides line up. I don't want to have to tear down any concrete that I've already solidified. Here I have the upper courtyard is concrete. The foundation for the square tower and the front part of the dungeon wall is done. If you notice back there in the back, the front wall of the Singers Hall building, they've got these rounded tops for windows now, which is really nice. They added a ton of shapes in 1.0. That one makes the building look much, much nicer. Also started here, you can see the bottom courtyard started to clear the dirt out and make some concrete down there. One thing to note, back in the day you had to use, like I mentioned earlier in this video, the rebar frames to get concrete. Now they have it to where you can put just a wood block down and upgrade it to cobblestone and then concrete. A little bit unrealistic, but it is a lot faster building stuff. Here, some more work on the dungeon wall. The lower courtyard is pretty much cleared out. The square tower on the left is starting to be built up, and I'm doing the connection building between the square tower and the front part of the Singers Hall building. Also on the right hand side, you'll notice there what they call the ladies' apartments in many of the floor plans I've found. Don't know if that's really what it is, but that's what I'm going to call it. Built the outer wall there for that. Got up to the 3rd floor back there of the Singers Hall building, and you can see there on the left hand side the taller structure is the staircase that's attached to the Singers Hall building, that goes from the 1st floor all the way up to the Singers Hall. Some more work back there on the Singers Hall building. Got up to the 4th floor, outer walls done, and a little bit more work here on the square tower on the front left. Here's an aerial view about the same time frame, showing that I'm putting the walls for the rooms inside the buildings as I go up to make sure, again, that everything lines up okay. I did that inside the Singers Hall building there, and the connection building between the square tower and the Singers Hall, and in the right hand side there you can see I'm doing it also inside the ladies' apartments. Here's a view from the other side, basically the same time frame. You can see the walls inside and the concrete frame work for the Singers Hall up to, what is that, the 4th floor. Did a lot of work here on the connection building between the square tower and the Singers Hall building. Got the second floor done, started putting the roof on the lower areas, and a little bit more work it looks like back there on the Singers Hall, because there's just some more concrete back there. Started putting the stone on the Singers Hall back there. Some more work on the left building, and I've actually got all the way up to the Singers Hall floor, 5th floor back there. Got the balcony and the door in the entryway going from the balcony into Singers Hall back there. Looks like it's snowing. It's kind of overcast. Yeah, still snowing. I can see the snowflakes in the foreground here. Did some more work here on the connection building between the square tower and Singers Hall building, and a little bit of work there, it looks like, on the connection building between the square tower and the guardhouse, which I still haven't started yet. More work here on the right foreground on the ladies' apartments. Got the second floor done and part of the stair area back there. You can see that stone, and a little bit more work on the upper area of the connection building between the square tower and the Singers Hall building. This one looks like I've gotten a little bit more work done back on the Singers Hall area, and put some plants inside the little alcove there for the dungeon wall. The ladies' apartments are pretty much finished now. Got the roof on them, including the tower there on the right hand side. Got them all stone outer walls. A little bit more work there in the back on the Singers Hall. Looks like I'm starting to do the second turret. You can kind of see the first turret there on the right a little bit. Aerial view. You can see in the background there, I'm starting to build the foundation and second floor, third floor there of the building where the throne room is going to be, which is the second part between, there's the front part, which is the Singers Hall, and the back part, which is the throne room. Aerial view. Nice view here, the forest trees in the background, and the stone for the ladies' apartment, Singers Hall, and the connection building between the square tower and the Singers Hall. And in the background there, or top left, you can see I put the flooring down in the Singers Hall. Probably should have put the roof on first, but I just wanted to get something up there to see kind of where I was at. Some work here on the first area that juts out on the square tower. There's that walkway that goes around up there that's kind of a squared off. You can see I'm starting to get that done. Finished the roof on the connection building between the square tower and the Singers Hall. Aerial view, just kind of showing the square tower there. I finished that first upper walkway area up there, and I'm starting to put the roof on top of the Singers Hall portion of the back castle. Starting work on the front guardhouse. A lot more work back there on the Singers Hall building, including starting the right-hand turret, a little bit more building. And also from the foreground here, left-hand side, you can see that the roof is done on the connection building between the square tower and the guardhouse. Aerial view, about the same time frame. Doesn't look like much changed here. Just a view from a different angle. I do have the smaller of the stair towers between the Singers Hall and the throne room tower. That's all the way built up now to the 5th floor. There's that anteroom there that connects the two, and there's one of the stair towers. The other taller one will be on the other side. Nighttime view. This is the side view of the Singers Hall. The left-hand side wood there, you can see where the large stair tower is going to be between the throne room on the back left and the Singers Hall area on the middle picture. Aerial view here, you can see I've got the balcony done on the outside of the throne room. And if you look in the top there, you can see down inside the throne room, I've got part of the dome ceiling built and the back area behind the throne, and a little bit more work there on the ceiling for the Singer's Hall, ceiling and roof. And it looks like on the top left there, starting to build the upper round portion of the square tower. Built the roof here on top of the throne room portion of the keep. Stoned up the walls there, and starting to put some of the windows here on the Singer's Hall and that little retaining wall there on the outer area, first floor. Just a little bit further view away, you can see that I painted the roof of the throne room portion. I don't have all of the chimneys yet, but the roof is painted and some of the windows that go into the attic. Also blood moon, so clearly I am not going to stay here for blood moon. More work done on the roof here of the throne room portion. You can see the attic part of the area above the balconies is kind of getting framed out up there. Nice view here from the guardhouse looking towards the Singer's Hall portion. Both of the turrets are in progress. The right hand one is closer to being done, obviously, than the left. And got the upper windows there for the Singer's Hall, and then that little round window up there in the attic. Nice view of the square tower from the guardhouse, including the upper area there. That's the first walkway around the outside. Aerial view looking down. I've got the roof done on both the Singer's Hall portion of the front part of the keep and the roof of the back part of the keep where the throne room is. Starting to do some of the chimneys on top, and as you can see here, the smaller of the stair towers that connect the anteroom between the Singer's Hall building and the throne room building. And in the background there to the right area, you can see the larger of the two stair towers. Little picture down here from the ground showing you just an overall view. Guardhouse there on the left with one of the round towers, and the back balcony. You can see I'm also starting to put the brickwork and the orange paint, and you can see there's the roof done on the center portion there. Blood moon again, and it's been, as you can see, a couple 100 days almost since the last time I took a screenshot. This particular screenshot now, by the way, was June of 2025, so almost a year at this point. Landed in the courtyard here. Pretty much everything is built. Need obviously to do some finalization of the stonework in some of the areas, but both of the turrets are done on the Singer's Hall up there. Got the cross up on the roof. The actual building has some really fancy statuettes, which obviously I don't have, so I just put a cross up there on the top. Aerial view. Nice view of the tower over there, the front one, the square tower, the roof and stuff. Everything is done on that one, and the larger of the two stair towers between the throne room and the Singer's Hall is getting pretty well completed at this point. It's up way above the roof of both the throne room building and the Singer's Hall building. Hovering above the courtyard, just to kind of show you the two towers, a bit closer view, turrets I should say, attached to the Singer's Hall building. And you can see the smaller of the stair towers between the Singer's Hall and throne room in the back right there is completed. Another blood moon, day 548. I wanted to add a few pictures of me flying up to the castle, just so you can kind of see how neat it looks just up on top of that mountain, coming in from the village that's down below. Kind of earlier on, it's not completed yet. Obviously, you can see the tall stair tower isn't even completed. This is a little bit later on. You can see the taller stair tower is starting to be complete. Pretty far away, but it's neat. You can see it on top of that mountain from really long distance. The trees aren't even rendered back that far. And here's one at sunrise with the sun coming up over the back. And I thought that was just a neat picture. Alright, made it to the fun part of the video. Actually, it's all fun, but this is the best part when you actually get to take the tour of the castle. I decided to build a road down to the village that's at the bottom of the mountain, but after building the road down to just the bottom of the mountaintop that the castle's on, I decided that's just going to be too much work. So I just built it. Just this short little distance that you see here, just so that there was some way to get to it, because there's a little smaller kind of dirt road down at the end of this road. I tried to make it as close to what I could see in the pictures as possible. You know, the stone structure, everything like that. It's a nice view kind of the castle from the road. There's like a walkway on both sides of the road, it looks like, so I built that. Little archway here, some cobblestone to hold it up. It looked like this would be a good place for like some water runoff from the castle, so I built an archway there. You can kind of see that the structure of the retaining wall for the road looks as close as I could get it. Oh, it's starting to snow. As close as I could get it to what it looks like in the pictures that I saw of the castle. They had those kind of whitish support beams, for lack of a better word, every so often to help hold up the blocks for the wall. Pretty happy with how it came out. Looks a lot like what I feel the pictures are. Funpimps did a good job of the sound effects when you're walking in the snow. You can kind of hear that little crunchy snow sound. The only unfortunate thing being is that sometimes if you build the structure on top of the snow, you still have that sound even if you have built wood or concrete on top of it. This motorcycle is the default one. As I mentioned earlier in one of the other videos, we added a mod for vehicles to get a helicopter and a lot of different motorcycles, but I believe that one is the one that's out of the box. There used to be one that had like some spikes on the front. It was pretty cool too. So here's the front facade of the guardhouse. Gateway building, I think it's called. In the pictures that I saw, the front of it was like that red brick. There's some arrow slots up there with a place to drop down some rocks or oil, whatever you want to, if anybody happens to be sieging the castle. A couple little round stair towers on each end of the guardhouse. That little gate there doesn't, or that railing, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really do anything. It's just sort of like an early warning thing for me. If the zombies start beating on it, I can hear them. That alcove came out really cool. I'm happy with that. Some of the pictures that I saw, the inside of the guardhouse was like an orangey color. There is no just straight orange. So the orange here has stripes. Doesn't look too bad. But I wish that there had been like just a solid orange. Steps going from the lower courtyard up to the upper courtyard, so you can kind of see. Hungry. Wanted to get just an initial view of the upper courtyard, looking back at the castle part where the Singers' Hall is. Square tower there on the left. and then the back side of the gatehouse. I'm kind of going a little bit fast when I'm going through, especially once I start going into the rooms, because the first walkthrough I did, it took me almost 2 hours, and I thought that was just kind of ridiculous. Nobody's going to watch that entire video, so I went a little bit fast through here. Obviously, if you need to, you can rewind if you want to look at some of the different structures and pause it or whatever you need to do. But I wanted to go through pretty much every single room in the keep so you could just kind of have a look at it. There isn't a lot of pictures from the inside, so I know that when you do the tours there, they won't let people take any photos except for a few areas. So I just had to guess at a lot of the stuff. I like how the dungeon wall came out there. That's really nice. So this is what I called the first floor. It goes all the way back. At least this walkway takes you all the way back to the tower, the stair tower that goes up to Singer's Hall. So I'm going to kind of go through one floor at a time. I'll start with the guardhouse up here. Some arrow slits to shoot out of. And then the arrow slits for the front with the openings for oil or rocks or whatever. This door takes you steps back down into the lower courtyard. Again, the square tower. Super happy with how that came out. But it was an insane amount of work. Actually, this whole build was. So back to what I was saying. So I'm going to go floor by floor. So I'll start with the guardhouse here in the front and do one floor at a time. So this is kind of the second floor. Some more arrow slots and holes for rocks and oil. Again, I have no idea how it looks on the inside, so I just had to kind of guess. And I'll go back to the third floor in a second. I'm going to go to the top of this tower, so I don't have to come back to it. So this is kind of the guard tower to the, if you're facing the front of the entrance, this is the right hand stair tower. It's smelling a little heavier now. So there's looking down at the roof of the gatehouse facility. Third floor area up here of the gatehouse. It's a little balcony here that overlooks the upper courtyard and lower courtyard. And then the balcony that looks out the front area to the road. There's that little village down there I was talking about. Kind of a view of the front wall there. Built an attic up here. Don't know if there is in the real castle or not, but again, just going by the pictures. There's a bear. Nice view of the upper courtyard. area. That's pretty much it for the gatehouse building, guardhouse. Nice view of the square tower. I don't know if there's an official name for that, but that's what I saw it was called in all of the floor plans that I found. I'll put links to the floor plans down below, so that way give credit where credit is due, because I had no idea. I had a bunch of them that I found on the internet and just kind of merged them all into one that I modified to fit the top of this mountain. Roof of the guardhouse again, and looking back at the keep, square tower. So we'll go back down to the first floor now and take the walkway back. Oh, there's another little stairs and door here down into the lower courtyard. Oops, wrong door. Most of this interior I was just kind of winging it, like I mentioned earlier. So that will take you all the way back to where the staircase is that takes you up to the Singer's Hall. But we'll do, here's the second floor again. These archways, the arrow slits came out really cool. They look great from the outside. I'll show you that later when I do the external tour. I don't know that they would be super functional in an actual siege, but they do look cool. So I'm going to go all the way to the top of the square tower, just kind of one floor at a time, and then go back and start doing floor by floor for the different areas. Third floor, I put some floor markers on each of the staircases just because I know I don't think there is those in real life. I'm sure there's not, but just so I could know where I was at. Again, kind of running through these rooms kind of quick just to try to get this video a little bit shorter. It's still going to be, I suspect, about an hour. Good view of the front of the Singer's Hall portion of the castle with the main staircase tower back in the background. Tallest tower is the main staircase tower back there, but this one is pretty big too. You can kind of see to the left and the right of all those windows there the supports for the upper walkway up here. Some little windows. Don't really know what those are for, but I saw them in some of the pictures, so I added them. So now we're on like the first kind of ledge of the square tower. It's a good view looking back at the keep itself. There's that small town down there. View of the upper area of this square tower. These look like they could be like some sort of arrow type openings. You'd have to be pretty good with an arrow to hit something that far down because we're up really high now. There's that bear again. I'll leave him alone. He's not bothering me. I'm not going to bother him. very top of the square tower. A little light in the ceiling there just to kind of keep it lit up because there's no windows up here. Don't know if there is in the real castle, but this is just how I was able to build it with the shapes that I had available to me. We'll head back down to the first floor again and just give you the last little bit of the tour of that. There's not much on the first floor. A lot of it is below ground when you get back to the main keep area. So back to first floor. There's a little window here. Not really sure what that's for. Just kind of looking out. I guess you could shoot arrows out if somebody got into the lower courtyard, but at that point you're in trouble already anyway. I made this all stone. Because right now we're underground, or underground level. And this is the staircase that takes you all the way up to the Singer's Hall. We'll get back to that. Alright, we'll go back up to the second floor and do that. So now we're on floor 2 of the castle, which is the upper courtyard level floor. Doors out into the upper courtyard, some stairs going up to the third floor. There's showing kind of the building that's on top of the connecting building. I think it's called the Knight's House. And then looking back at the main gatehouse. So on some of the maps this was called the Knight's House. We'll go to the roof of that and then go back down to the second floor tour, because there's the very fourth floor of the Knight's House is isolated, so we'll tour this section. So this staircase is specifically for the Knight's House. It goes down to the first floor and up to the fourth floor of this. There was these little side kind of rooms that had windows. I presume that's to shoot arrows out of again. And then over here we've got some more arrows openings and places to drop some more rocks and oil and things down onto anybody who's sieging the castle. And then just some more little rooms off to the side. This is the third floor walkway. We'll get back to that again when we do the third floor. And we'll do the fourth floor of the Knight's House, Knight's Hall. Built a little attic up here. Wood floor, wood ceiling. It's a view across to the, what do they call that? The ladies' housing or ladies' apartments, I think, in one of the maps I saw. Nice view out to that little village. I made this room here kind of nicer, sort of like some of the rooms in the main area. Figured that there would be like the head knight or something. If this is truly the knight's house, it would have like a nicer room than the rest. Alright, back down to second floor. Finish this area. I was already in here, right? Yes. Okay. So this hallway goes all the way back I built a little storage thing here underneath the stairs just to put building supplies and ammo and stuff. Picked up some ammo for Bloodman. Don't need to carry it with me right now. So this is going to be the opening, the lower floor of the building underneath Singer's Hall. So this is that walkway that goes all the way back to the front of the guardhouse. These are all just rooms. I didn't know what was really in here, so I just kind of made them all just very uniform, kind of plain, because I figured this would probably be like where the workers were housed. Some of them that were a little nicer, I put some nice wood ceilings. That door takes us to the kitchen. We'll get back to that. Let's do the, what I saw some maps called the ladies' apartments. That's the smaller of the stair towers that connect to the, between the Singer's Hall and the throne room building. Little closet under the stairs there. Stairs that going up inside the ladies' apartments. One map called it a bower. Little closet there. Door going back out to the main courtyard, looking back across at the knight's house. Just made the rooms according to the floor maps that I was able to find. Don't really know what was inside them. I didn't want to put any furniture in any of this stuff because, one, nobody's ever going to be in it again. After I can finish this video, they're going to shut it down, but also that would have just been a lot of extra work. Third floor. There's a little stairway going back down to the courtyard. The balcony of the ladies' apartments or bower. Another closet, same as the floor below it. I made this room a little bit nicer, thinking again that the higher up the nicer the rooms would be. So this one has all wood paneling, wood ceiling. Going out on the balcony here for the ladies' apartments. Looking across at the knight's house. Another little closet, same as the other two floors. And I figured this one would be like the nicest ladies' apartment of all, so nice wood ceiling, and I really made all the walls wood paneling, did a nice crown molding on the roof. Made these look as nice as I could. Figured this would be like the nicest room in the ladies' apartments area. And that's the top of the little staircase for the ladies' apartments. Looking out at the smaller of the stairway towers for the antechamber between the throne room and Singer's Hall buildings. you down the road that I made. And we'll head into the kitchen. I did decorate the kitchen a little bit to make it look like some of the pictures that I saw. A lot of them had like pots and pans all over the place in the decoration, which I didn't do. That's just going back out into the front part there. Nothing in the cabinets. Empty pantry. So now we're headed back out into the walkway here on the second floor. The connection building, I should say, between the square tower way down at the end, and this is the area where the antechamber is, between the Singers Hall building and the throne room building. Oh, this light went out. Strange. Light it back up again. Don't know why that happened. Line it up here with the walkway. Right, there we go. Alright, so this is the area underneath the throne room. These rooms I made a little bit nicer than the front area. Nice wood paneling on the ceiling and the kind of lower area, and then some kind of a nice green paint on the walls. All the rooms in this section of the castle I kind of did the same, except for as you get higher up. Not really sure why there's this little opening here, but it's in the pictures. As I said, like when you get higher up, I made them a little bit fancier, a lot more wood paneling and stuff. This room is sort of like a, I guess made it like a secondary kitchen workspace area. Same sort of design with the columns and the tile floor. I did all the rooms that were kind of in that column area the same. The light went out. What's the deal? Huh. Fix this really fast. There. So this is the main stair tower, the largest one in the castle that goes up to where there's that little turret off to the side. Walkway here going back towards the front, like the guardhouse area and stuff like that. That's the stairway that goes up to Singers Hall, and that's the walkway that takes us back to the square tower. So here's the staircase that goes from the upper courtyard up into the Singers Hall portion of the keep. I'm using keep and castle interchangeably just because I don't really necessarily know the definitive difference. Again, same kind of design here for the rooms in this area as the floor below. Wood ceiling, wood on the doors, wood paneling on the kind of the footing there. You can see here there's those archways that are holding up the balcony. It's above us. Here's one more room that's sort of similar to the kind of kitchen area. Same thing with the columns going up. In the floor plans that I saw, those columns went all the way up to just underneath the throne room area, so I just continued that in this. Same as the floor below. I kind of made these a little bit more bland, just white walls and kind of plain wood ceiling. This one I did a little bit fancier ceiling just because it's sort of a larger room. Thought maybe it would be like a meeting room or something. Don't really know for sure. And then all these rooms up front are kind of the same, kind of plain. Little kind of small room here, maybe storage room or something. Looking out over the courtyard. and back out into the antechamber section of the area. Alright, so we'll go up to the next floor here. It's really cloudy outside right now. Hopefully it clears up so we can get a good picture looking out down to that little village and stuff. Okay, fourth floor. I started to make things up here a little bit nicer because we're getting closer up to the throne room. If you notice here, the walls are kind of expanding outward. The actual castle, the throne room portion, is at an angle off of the main Singer's Hall. So you can kind of see that on the left-hand side they're straight, and on the right-hand side they kind of spread out there a little bit at an angle. Again, these rooms are kind of the same as the rooms below for 2 floors, just the standard olive color walls. Here's the lower half of the balcony below the throne room. Again, very snowing out. You can see some snowflakes, which makes it hard to see out. Again, hopefully it'll clear up, especially before I do the tour around the castle from the air. This is the room above those other 2 ones that were sort of like the kitchen auxiliary areas. These rooms here, kind of similar as below. Very plain drab. And then I kind of made this area down here, now that we're up to just below the throne room floor, kind of fancier. Maybe this could be, I don't know, living rooms or something like that. Little closet there, wood paneling throughout. Just thought that this would be kind of a upgrade from the lower floors for more important people. Maybe like visiting nights or stuff. Little side room here. Above that there's like a deck. That's the stairway again up to the Singer's Hall. Get back to that later. It's getting a little clearer. Alright, 5th floor. This is now where I made the upgrade for all the areas. There's the throne room over there. We'll get back to that in a minute. I kind of want to leave the throne room and Singer's Hall for last. So this is all wood paneling throughout. Tried to make this a lot nicer looking area than the floors below, because this would be, you know, maybe king and queen's chambers and stuff like that. There's a balcony here you can look out. See the room over there, the stairway for the ladies' apartments. A couple of turrets here off of the front of the Singer's Hall that offer you some views of the courtyard and the surrounding area outside the castle. Again, did all wood paneling. Little closet here for storage. Actually pretty big kind of walk-in closet. There's a little closet over here I forgot to show you. Just maybe small storage area. Out into the main hallway. Another little closet here. Basically those 3 closets are kind of in a line, so still wood paneling on the ceiling and walls in the upper area. There's that little balcony alcove area. This might be a good, like, I don't know, sunroom or something, maybe some plants. Put a few plants in there just to liven it up a little bit. There's a little alcove here. Don't really know what that's for, just to maybe look over the peasants down there. There's the main stair tower. You can see the road from the town down there. So again, the antechamber there between the throne room area. There's that little balcony again. 6th floor here. This is the upper area of the throne room. Go into that afterwards. Let's go up a little bit higher because that's where the Singers Hall is too. We'll get back to that like I mentioned earlier. 7th floor here, the upper area of the Singers Hall. This is the ceiling above the throne room. You can kind of see where the dome is there. Could be used for maybe storage or something. It's just very plain. I made it like just wood, dry wood floor and ceilings. Figure not too many people in here. Go up one more. This is the last actual floor that's from the throne room portion. This is the attic completely above the entire throne room building. Again, just for storage. If I was going to put this in an actual build, I'd probably put like a bunch of shelving and storage containers up there. I don't know what this little window is for, but it's in all the pictures. Alright, we'll go up to the top of the main stair tower here. It's still cloudy out. This is the first kind of walkway up on this tower. It goes all the way around. You can kind of see the smaller stair tower over there, the square tower up to the front. I made all the towers just stone block because I thought it looked cool. Back looking at the smaller stair tower. Square tower towards the front of the castle. And looking out, again, still snowy, towards the village down below. And this is the top area of top floor of the large stair tower. Some arched windows up there. Probably should have put some railings up here because if you're not careful you can actually fall. This is that little turret that's jutting out from the large stair tower. Looking down at the smaller stair tower, the road down there. That is the top of that particular tower. Head back down here. A lot of spiral staircases. We'll go check out the other stair tower really fast. And then we'll go back to the throne room. So the smaller stair tower has a doorway here to go up on the roof. It's a little walkway here. There's the road going down. Some views of the surrounding countryside. And that's the roof over the Singers Hall portion. Down there is the ladies' apartments. We'll kind of walk up here a little bit so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's looking into the attic over the throne room, which we're standing on top of the roof of for now. This little building, in the actual castle they had like these real fancy statues of people and stuff like that, which obviously aren't shapes inside 7 Days to Die, so I just had to kind of improvise. There's that little window again, looking into the walkway there for the large stair tower. It's a pretty good view of that little turret that pokes out from it. We'll walk over here onto the roof of the Singer's Hall. Again, they had real fancy statues, but don't have that option, so I just put crosses because a lot of castles back in those days had crosses on them. That's the divider there between the two buildings where they have that angle. Alright, go back here into the smaller stair tower. Some stained glass up there. Little light so that you can see through the stained glass, or see the stained glass outside at night. Looking towards the front of the castle, ladies' apartments. And this is pretty much uniform all the way down with little windows. So we'll head into the throne room here. There's a couple of little waiting rooms, I'll call them here, off of the lower throne room area. Again, fancy wood paneling throughout. I saw several pictures of the throne room. Some of them had brown columns on the bottom and blue on the top. Some of them had brown and purple, so I went brown and purple. There's the dome ceiling up above the throne room area. Oops, wrong button. Marble floors, stairs up to the throne. Look from the king's chair, looking down on the peasantry and the roof and the visiting royalty and whatnot. There's a couple of arrow slits here. I don't really imagine they'd be very useful from this high up, but they were in the pictures that I saw of the castle, so I included them. And the balcony from the throne room. Well, it's starting to clear up a little bit. That's good. Just about in time for the aerial tour. Nice look at the surrounding countryside. Put some crown molding up there on both of the floors to make it look nicer. There's that other arrow slot. Again, can't really imagine it would be very useful, but who knows? Maybe they were better archers than I can imagine. And let's go up to the second floor of the throne room and check that out. Again, two kind of little waiting rooms here off to the side. Also wood paneling. Looking down at the throne. All wood paneling. The domed roof was incredibly hard to build. It took me a long time to figure out how to even make it work, but real happy with how it came out. Just kind of looking at the different painting that I did there. There's only a limited amount of paint textures in the game, but they came out pretty good. Alright, let's check out the Singers Hall here. There's that stairway again that I mentioned. There's another little turret viewport here. There's that little balcony, sunroom, whatever. In all the pictures that I could see of the castle, the Singers Hall had paintings on all the walls. Obviously, I don't have that luxury in this, so I just did wood paneling in the entire room here. Did the overlook balcony up there with some nice woodwork. Crown molding up on the top there. Balcony overlooking the courtyard in the front of the keep. There's a kind of close look at the turret. And the roof up above it. The other turret. The tower for the Knights house and the square tower up front. This is the other turret. That room, that door just goes back into the antechamber back here between the throne room and Singers Hall. This is where the singers would sing, I presume. There's a small little stage there. Let's go up and look at the upper area up there. Got Singers Hall. So this is the kind of balcony looking down. I don't know if this would be the cheap seats or the fancy seats where there's like chairs and stuff so people can sit. I suspect that the upper class people were down on the floor. Little storage area here above the Singers Hall, maybe for props and whatnot. Basically an attic. I did it the same design as the one above the throne room. Window here looking out to the square tower and the guardhouse. Oh, I should put a railing there. A little late now. And back in the antechamber here in between the Singers Hall and the throne room. Alright, we'll head back downstairs. So you can see the views from the small stair tower. I'll take this one down since I took the large stair tower up. Looking towards the ladies' apartments there. The stair tower for that one. And we're back down to the upper ground area. Ground floor, which is technically the second floor. It's really quick, just go up these stairs so you can see the inside of the stairway tower for the Singers Hall. Third floor. Looking to the village down there. Fifth floor, which is where it gets kind of fancy. Back that little sunroom area. Now that it's clear, you can see the village better. And now we're back up on the floor where the bottom floor of the Singers Hall is. I'll head back down. Back out to the courtyard. And we'll start the aerial tour. As I mentioned, we added a vehicle mod, V-Dubs vehicle mods. Has some really neat vehicles, including this small helicopter. There's a bigger one too. that carries 6 people, but this one's easier to fly. So, do an aerial view tour of the castle. Obviously, there's the gatehouse there with the 2 towers. Village down there in the distance, or small town maybe. Looking back to the castle as a whole. And drop down here a little bit so you can kind of see from the front the gatehouse, guardhouse. There's the road going down. Drop down here a little bit more to the front so you can get an aerial view of that retaining wall. This helicopter is really nice. It's easy to maneuver. The real big one is much harder. It's tail heavy, so if you move the keys wrong, you'll start to, the tail drops. So looking in here towards the courtyard, paper courtyard, kind of spin around here by the ladies' apartments. I think one map said it was a bower or something like that. Not sure. So this is the smaller stair tower there. On the left is the Singers Hall building portion, and on the right is the throne room portion. Want to be careful not to clip the building with the rotor. That would be unfortunate. There you can see the balconies, upper and lower. Need to get a little bit further away from the building here. Right, there we go. The upper and lower balcony, the upper one is door goes into the throne room, the lower one is the floor below. Kind of nice view of the town down there below the castle. Get up a little bit higher here so you can see the upper area of the large stair tower with that turret that jets out up at the top. There isn't any rounded roof shapes, so I had to kind of make it more angled. But it still came out really nice looking. I'm super happy with how this castle turned out. And let's drop back down here a little bit. You can even see the shadow of the helicopter on the castle wall. It's pretty impressive. They did a great job with the lighting in this game. So in front of me you can see there's that small little balcony, and to the right there's that little sunroom, I'm going to call it. This side of the castle also has some supporting columns to help hold it up, I guess. Again, I tried to make them look as close as I could to the original. Drop down here a little bit lower so you can kind of see up what it looks like from below. Without hitting the mountain, hopefully. So over there we got the square tower and the knight's house kind of on the left there with its stair tower. There's those arrow slits that I was mentioning when I was doing the earlier walkthrough where you've got the connecting building between the gatehouse and the square tower. Those came out looking really nice. On in a little bit. And back in the courtyard. Getting close. Land. There. Okay, we're still there. Oh, alright. So let's walk around the outer perimeter so you can see it from the ground, it looks like. This is the outside area of the ladies' apartments. Those are where all those little closets are, and that's the staircase that goes up inside. This is the outer wall of the Singer's Hall. There's this retaining kind of wall there or something. I'm not really sure what that's for. That little outer walkway. That's the smaller stair tower. And now we're on the outside of the throne room building. Looking up at the balcony and the columns underneath it. Not columns. I guess they're just kind of support anchors. Other side of the throne room area, and that's the larger stair tower, the real tall one. Be kind of careful here, it's pretty steep. Oops, slipped. Continuing the stair tower, and that's the kind of Singer's Hall walkway that goes from the front of the castle to the back. It's the stairway going up to Singer's Hall staircase. Now we're outside the wall of the knight's house, at least according to the maps. There's the stair tower for the knight's house and the connecting building between the square tower and that. And here's the connection between the square tower and the guardhouse, gatehouse, and again those little arrow openings. Back out here to the front of the gatehouse. And that's pretty much it. Take kind of just a last look around here. Ladies' apartments. Front area of the Singer's Tower, or Singer's Hall, I should say. Square Tower. And I want to thank you all for coming. So that pretty much wraps things up. If you made it all the way through the video from start to finish, then you are truly a 7 Days to Die survivor. I hope you've enjoyed following my journey building Neuschwanstein here in 7 Days to Die. One of the things that I mentioned earlier was that I would put my floor plan up so you guys could check it out. So this is the floor plan that I used through various sources that I found on the internet. I will put the links in the description down below. The actual castle is 135 meters from end to end. Mine you can see is just about 85 meters. Those red dots are every 10 meters. and you could see those on the 1.x build screenshots that I had earlier in this video. It's about 1/3 smaller than the actual castle. I did that because I wanted to save some time, materials, and actually to just find a place to put it, because 135 meters is just massive and there are not that many mountaintops that are big enough to fit that in the game. In hindsight, I probably should have just kept it full size because it clearly didn't save me any time, and materials are so easy to come by later on in the game that that wasn't an issue. And it actually ended up causing some problems when I was doing the finishing, because there were doors that I couldn't put a door in the door frame because they weren't on an actual full block. All that being said, I'm super happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys were too. Thanks bunches again for coming by. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you're interested in getting more videos, but keep in mind most of them are going to be music videos. Here are some people who helped along the way, whether it's the server admin, Sidiov, who kept the server up and running. Everybody else had gone on to 2.0, so thanks for that. And the rest are some people who just played on the server and offered encouragement to finish throughout the days, months, weeks, and year. That said, stay safe in the zombie apocalypse, everybody, and take care.